Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. So the plan for this video is to test using water slide decals in an eco casting powder pour, as I've done before with epoxy resin. And to do that, I'm going to use a set of 3 little house molds, floral water slide decals, arc acrylic resin and pigments from Just Resin. But as you can see, spoiler alert, I demold, then I let the disappointment sink in, have to regroup, and after a little sanding, I use temporary tattoos to save the day. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, I have used water slide decals to attach to silicone molds before, and then I pour in epoxy resin, and they have worked beautifully. So I thought, why not try it with an acrylic eco casting powder. Sounded like a good idea at the time. So I went ahead and looked through all of my water slide decals, and I found 3 sets of floral ones that I thought would look really cute. For the larger of the 3 houses, I chose magnolias, so it was going to be the magnolia house. The second, the middle one, was going to be the poppy house with beautiful poppies, and the third and the smallest was going to be lavender house. So I spent quite a bit of time getting all of them perfectly in the right spots, and if you have seen a previous video where I made the cat little keychains, potentially magnets, then it's the same process. So I pop them in the water, they slide off when they're ready, and yeah, they're meant to stick. So here they are, and look, they are just looking so pretty. Could not be happier with these. So I go ahead and I mix up some of Just Resin's arc powder. Arc is an acrylic resin casting compound, and Just Resin is an Australian company. It's a 25 to 10 ratio. I think I've got that right. I'll put all the details in the links below, but I mixed up 250 grams of the powder. Then I added 80 grams of the liquid component, and the reason for that is that they recommend you add 80% of the liquid first, give that a stir, and then when that's combined, you add in the last 20%. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of the, I guess, matching pigments for this powder, which is also made by Just Resin. It's their arc pigment powder. And I'm using this rose pink colour. So in my head, I've got an idea of 3 little houses, 3 floral patterns on them, 3 different colours. So sort of same, but different. So I'm going to pour that into a jug for easier pouring. And then this is going to be the colour I'm going to use for the first house. So by now the water slide decals have all dried. I'm just checking them there and they feel great. And so I'm going to pour this in. The working time with this casting compound isn't too bad. You do get quite a few minutes. It's not like using a polyurethane. So now I decide that that middle one is going to be a reddish colour to match the poppy theme. And so I've got 2 reds here. I've got red and then scarlet. And I wanted to see which one of them would suit the most. I'm just adding it to the already blush pink mixture. And I do end up using a little bit of each to get to the colour that I would like. And then once I've carefully mixed that in and I am trying for no streaks or anything. I do want quite a smooth looking finish. I'm going to just pour that into that the poppy house that I'd named it. So just gently pouring that in. It's the first time that I've put eco casting acrylic resin into these moulds. I did make a tiny version recently, just with a little bit of leftover epoxy resin, and it looked great, but this is the first time I'm making them all up. They are just ones I purchased from Temu. Believe it or not, they were $1.29, I think, each, so a bargain. So this one, I'm adding a blue colour first and then a purple, because I did want to match that lavender theme. And so once I'm happy with the colour, I pour that in, and then with the little bit that I've got left over, I go ahead and pop that into just a small, almost like a mini tumbler mould, like a actual pot. And I do have to mix up a little bit extra just to finish that one off. And the second amount that I measured out was just a slightly different colour, which you will see when I demould them. So I'm going to let those cure, and now I'm going to demould, and they kind of look okay, but they're not okay. As soon as I start peeling back the silicone mould, I can see that it's very haphazard. Some of the waterslide decals have stuck. Some have even almost pressed into it, and others have stayed inside the mould. So unfortunately, that answers my question straight away. At least as far as this experiment was concerned, that waterslide decals did not work with the eco casting powder. So yeah, the disappointment continues with the poppy house. And again, you can see I've got some pieces left in the silicone mould. Some are just fluttering to the work surface, and others are just loose. And then I go ahead and demould what I'd been calling the magnolia house, and exactly the same again. So I was very disappointed, but I did have 3 solid cast pieces, and I've mentioned before how easy it is to sand these. So after I demould the little pot next, which I'm quite happy with because I hadn't had a chance to ruin it yet with anything, I do go ahead and sand off all of those waterslide decals. So here's the little pot I'm demoulding, and yeah, it's just a cute little pot. Because it was the scrapings of the bowl, I can see a little bit of powder in there, but it's fine. So after that little bit of sanding, I've now got 3 clean pieces of cast material, the little houses, and look, they look so cute. So I decided to add tattoos to them, some removable tattoos, and these are going to be in a similar vein to what I'd originally intended, but unfortunately I didn't have exactly the same types of flowers, but I did my best, and so I've flipped them over so that I can fit the individual temporary tattoos into where I think that they will look best. And because of course they will be mirrored, they will be in reverse when I go to apply them. And so I spent quite a bit of time just neatening up each of the pieces, laying them out, having a little fiddle around with them, and yeah, just making sure that I was happy with it. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit now because it's just more of the same. I'm going to go ahead and finish off this little, the former lavender house, the house formerly known as Lavender. And then I'll move on to the poppies, and then I will finish off with what was the magnolia. I'm not quite sure what these are exactly, the pink branches. They sort of look like a cross between a magnolia and a sort of a Japanese blossom. They're very pretty, and they are pink, which is keeping in theme with the that baby blush pink that I cast the first one in. And you'll see that these have got the little holes in them for the windows and a heart. So I did make sure that I factored that in as I was cutting and placing all of the individual pieces. And I knew that if I had any overhang, either on the outside or into those areas, that I could just trim those off with a sharp craft blade, which I ended up doing a few little things. And I did wrap part of one around the edge, and I actually really liked that look. Would definitely 10 out of 10 do it again. And so to apply these temporary tattoos, of course, you just need to remove that plastic backing sheet, and then you press it down onto your piece, and then using a damp cloth, you just sort of squeeze down. I find that it sort of just takes care of itself. You squish it with water, and then when it's ready, you'll just feel a slight little bit of movement underneath your hand, and then it will just literally slide off. So to get it as accurate as possible, because you can't see through these temporary tattoos while they're dry, I did spend quite a bit of time just really trimming those edges so that I was confident that I was getting it as close to the placement that I wanted as possible. I do find this kind of almost fiddly craft work really enjoyable. Just that process of thinking about placement and putting pieces down, and yeah, it's just relaxing, calming, and of course there's no time stress at all because the material is already cast, and the tattoos are just going to come off when they're ready. So it's quite enjoyable, really. And yeah, so I finish off with Little Lavender House, and I'm very happy with the result. So here are the three pieces. I'm just trimming off some of the overhang there, and there they are, the three different little houses, each with their own colour scheme and floral theme. Now, turning my attention to the little pot, I wanted to decorate this as well, and I wanted to try and cover up that little, sort of like a tide line, isn't it, where the two different colours collided, being very dramatic there. And so I found these tattoos that had a curved, sort of an organic shape to them, and I thought that they would be perfect. When I buy these, I always buy double of everything because I like having symmetrical things, and I like having things for earrings, things like that. And so of course it meant that I did have two of these sheets, which was just perfect because two of them fit round the circumference of the little tub perfectly. And I did have just the tiniest little bit. It's the first time ever pull off. See? First of all, I thought, gosh, I haven't taken off that plastic sheet, but I had. I don't know why it didn't. So luckily I had another little small sheet I could cut off a piece and just press that over, and it just looks as if it's meant to be there. Or at least I think it does. So, and then to finish it off, I just grabbed 2 more little flowers. I did think about putting those ones in the background on the top pointing downwards, but I decided to go a little bit simpler in the end. And I think I'm actually going to use this to sit my stirring sticks in at my workstation. So it's going to be a little keeper. And yeah, super pretty. So I set that and the others aside to dry, just so that the water from the tattoo application process can come out. And when they are thoroughly dry, I'm going to finish them with the sealer wax from Buan Nicole. And you can definitely see in certain light, as you'll see particularly on that middle poppy house one, that there is something sitting on the surface. So the waterslide decals would do similar, and the temporary tattoos are the same. So they do have that little outline to them. Applying this beautiful wax and then buffing it off, sealing it, does help considerably. You could see me there with the end of a little paintbrush just poking the wax that went into the little windows out. I really didn't think that through. I sort of kept applying it straight onto that area, as you do. But anyway, so I went through and applied the wax with that beautiful sponge to each of them, and then using that buffing cloth, went ahead and buffed each of them, and then double checked them for any of that wax residue in the window areas. So once they dried, I'm just really happy with them. They look so pretty, and I thought to show them off to you, I would take them outside for a little walk. And of course, as always, when I'm outside, I was accompanied by one of my loyal and faithful crafting companions. So here you get to see Milo in the garden. Hello, Milo. And then here are the 4 finished pieces. So that little pot and the 3 houses. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this little experiment. If you liked it, you could give me a thumbs up, share it with some friends. I appreciate any comments, and of course subscribing is free. And to finish up, here are some final videos and photos of the completed pieces, and I hope you enjoy looking at them and that you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.